sweetheart. Are you going to help, are you?
Jesus, cat, what are you doing?
Are you going to help, are you, baby? You're such a good girl.
Height context. Probably irrelevant for the cat, but it is for us.
Sweetheart.
What are you doing?
I don't think the anchor's actually your little bed.
Admittedly, it's probably not going to go anywhere.
Hello, sweetheart. No, stay there.
This week we need to upgrade the bow roller on Brupeg in preparation for heading off soon. Now to do that we need to pull Brupeg forward because we can't quite reach it. Brupeg was a sunken fishing trawler that was stripped out and ready for the scrapyard. She's just completed a 10-year rebuild that's brought her back to life. With the help of volunteers and funded by our Patreons, community and subscribers, she'll be crewed by passionate people from around the world. If you'd like to be involved and support the project, please consider joining us on Patreon or subscribe to the channel. There's a link in the description below.
So, why would the woman with the connective tissue disorder and dislocations and all of that be pulling the boat? Well, we wanted to show you how easy it was. Honestly, it was effortless for me. Get ready to stop it.
How far have you got?
I've got about half a metre.
Okay, just about 5 on the back.
3 feet to the end. You want to push off?
Yeah.
It's pretty perfect if you can tie it there.
Yeah. You position it how you want it. Yeah. Okay, you right? Yeah. Good there? Okay, you're loose this end. Yeah. I'll get you a spanner, yeah. Do you need protection?
We do. The world is changing and we wouldn't be without NordVPN.
We use NordVPN to secure our internet connection on Brupeg as well as protect the data that flows around the boat. A VPN encrypts the data coming from your computer so the hackers and cyber criminals can't see it and use it.
Online banking, emails, e-commerce and buying online stays safe and secure.
Using NordVPN, it safeguards your online privacy. So government agencies and your internet service provider and so on, they can't see what you're doing online.
And it masks your IP address. Incredibly helpful when we start travelling. We might need to use public Wi-Fi or a local hotspot. We all have different tastes in movies and shows on board, and because NordVPN allows you to avoid website block, you can choose from many streaming platforms, watch what you want, and not be restricted to what's available in your area.
We've also been using NordPass Password Manager for a while now. We use it for all of our online passwords, for all of our devices, emails, websites, social media and credit cards.
Stay safe out there. We are.
So get your exclusive NordVPN deal here. There's a link in the description below or on the screen. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee.
Okay, there's a reason we've taken the anchor off and pushed Brupeg's bow obnoxiously far forward. We have to get this roller here off. We've got a fantastic roller that's going to fit in these holes up here. But we didn't have time to put it on before we launched. This was just basically a trailer roller, a rubber trailer roller. It works, but it's not going to last and it's not really that great. We've got a fantastic roller that Daniel made that we need to fit on there. Let me show you what we're putting on.
This is a 2-piece anchor roller that I designed using Fusion 360. It's made out of acetal, sometimes known as Delrin. It has 4 roller bearings in the center and 4 oil seals. It's a greased anchor roller, so it has a grease feed coming in through the pin, which you'll see soon, and the oil seals keep the mud and rubbish out and the grease inside the bearings. This thing should spin incredibly easy. It also allows us, because of the shape, to have the chain not try and twist over when we're pulling it up or down. The chain's also able to drop into the center because of the shape, and the anchor is designed to sit in the middle slot.
And here it is. This is the real thing. We've got the shape that we just sort of showed, so that the anchor will, the chain will naturally fall into the slot. The anchor fits inside this slot, and it's also designed to be the right width for the chain when it's in its vertical axis. there's enough meat here that it can grind away on the sides and it's really not going to matter. I did think about putting a radius on these ones, but it really doesn't make any difference. It's built into two pieces. If you have a look closely, you can see there's a join all the way down there. That's because we couldn't physically get a piece of acetal that was, or Delrin that is this wide. You can get it, but we just didn't have access to it. Daniel had a couple of pieces that were, I think, 2-inch wide or something like that from memory, so we've modified it to suit that dimension. You see it's held together with 4 big bolts. These are recessed in so that it doesn't cause any damage on the side of the housing that we're using. And then we've got an oil seal. There's actually 2 oil seals. There's one here and then there's another one. You might be able to see the lip just in there. So there's 2 on either side, so 4 in total. And then if you have a look through there, you can see 4 bearing surfaces. So there's 4 roller bearings in this here. So this is a roller bearing, oil sealed, greasable bow roller, 9-inch diameter bow roller. So to give you some context, that's a piece of masking tape to give you some idea as to how big this roller actually is. So the obvious question is, how do you get grease to these bearings here? That's where this shaft comes in. So it's a solid piece of 30mm 316 stainless, and it's got a hole drilled right down the center. It comes all the way along to this point here, and there's another hole cross drilled in here, and this is a little push lock grease fitting. So with that going on there like that, we push a grease line into there, it squeezes grease down here out this hole, and that delivers it to the center of those bearings, and then from there it squeezes out either side over to these oil seals here. Normally in the shade, there we go, look, might be able to see a whole bucket load of them. See there, some up the front. It's low tide, so there's only maybe 2 meters of water in there at all, and it's a sandy bottom, so it's sort of quite gentle conditions for the fish to hide amongst the marina and the boats. So shade cloth tent has been built, currently overcast, but that blue sky right behind it, that's going to be scorcher when it arrives. So what I need to do is get this pin. So this is one that Burke made before he left, basically just a stainless bolt welded onto actually a bit of galvanized solid. It's joined about here somewhere. We just quickly knock that up so that we can get this roller back into action. So we need to take that out. We're going to reuse this further up the process, you'll see in a minute. But this needs to be removed so that we can make the pin fit into this. So this is the old temporary pin that Burke knocked up. So he's basically TIG welded it in the middle here and then just ground it down so that we can slide it through the roller. The roller itself held up pretty good. We thought that it would absolutely die, but it's still in pretty decent condition given, you know, what we've been hauling over this thing. This is not a light anchor, believe it or not, and that thing seemed to last fine. I'm trying to work up here, and this little monster keeps climbing in the workplace. No regard to safety. There's no harnesses, not even the appropriate footwear. Complete disregard to every OH&S rule that we've put in place. So I drilled this hole out a while ago and it's a wee bit rusty, so I've made a tapered flapper wheel just by grinding it into a taper. I'm going to try and drive that through just to clean it up because the pin's not quite fitting as easy as I'd hoped. That's what the taper sort of ended up like in the end. Got a bit butchered, but it has allowed it to be polished all the way through. So now the actual pin, I'm going to slide that in. There we go. When this goes in, as it does, nice and lovely, doesn't line up with the hole on the other side. The hole on the other side was a guesstimate. It was drilled with the best guess intentions, but it's nowhere near close enough. So we need to mag drill this side out, drill it out to a different size, slightly down and maybe a bigger size or something like that. But yeah, that's what we have to do. It's not the end of the world. We can't like file this one away and file the bottom of this one away and have it on an angle, because then the roller would be on the piss. And that means it would be rubbing weirdly in here, so we have to modify the hole here to make sure that this is perfectly level. Time to start drilling this out. So I've got mag drill lined up. It's basically aligned by eye, but it's as good as I can get it. I would love to be able to drill it from this side, line it up on this hole perfectly, and then have an extension bit and drill through over to here. Can't do that, don't have one. No one locally's got one. I know you can buy them online, but just it's not going to happen. We can't get it today basically. So I'm going to do it this way. I've got enough slop that I can, if I'm out by 0.5 millimeter, I can make it work. So it's all good. I'm not too stressed about that. In fact, let's take that out so I don't drop it in the sea. But we've got Maggie the drill set up here. Start cutting into this, and I think we'll be all good. We need a clamp. That's not going to hold. I don't know if this is going to work. Clamps on both sides, they're very, very precarious, so who knows. I've still got movement up in here. I can still move this, but yeah, I really don't know if they're going to stay on there. Turns out they're not. Can't get it to cut the hole where I need it to cut the hole because it just keeps jumping around. I can't clamp it on there, so I'm going to flip to my least favourite option and actually die grind out this part here so that we can get the pin through. I'm not too worried that it doesn't touch the top because there's nothing pushing the pin that way. All of the weight is pulling the pin down that way, so if it's well supported down here, quite happy about that. And I'm also going to be bolting the pin assembly, so this assembly here will be physically bolted into this side over here. So I'll bolt it on this side so it doesn't slop around. The bolt will hold it located, and then this one over here will be its like receptacle, if that makes sense. So get the die grinder out and get stuck into that. But before we do that, I need to time when I use the die grinder because it's loud and noisy and whatever, flings little bits of metal around, so I have to make sure that it's not going to go on anyone's boat. So I'm not going to do that right now because it gets less wind either end of the day rather than the middle of the day. It's now like 11 o'clock, so I'll stop doing that. I've got a heap of stuff that I need to do on the inside, such as TIG welding for the pin. We've also been modifying the way that we work as well because it's so stinking hot in Australia at the minute. So we've been getting up at 5 AM and doing basically up till now, like 11 o'clock, working, and we stop during the middle of the day and then start again at about like 3 o'clock and go through to sort of 6-ish, something like that. Just because otherwise it's just excruciatingly hot and we can't get any work done. Alright, so I've got a black mark on our pin. What I need to do is cut a piece of this stainless, which luckily enough the supplier had in stock. The supplier is generally located over the back there, which was really convenient. So I need a cutaway shape out. It looks a bit like this. Pin gets welded in that part there. We've got a hole drilled there for a bolt, and this face ends up butting up against the bow roller structure. Right, well that didn't work, and I tried fitting it in my little flat vise, like so, but I don't have enough room between here and the centre of this mag drill. Everything's getting awfully difficult on this. Time for a different approach. Drill, hole saw, stainless. Now this is not going to be a nice fit, but it's a weldable fit. Even though it's not red anymore, it's still quite hot, so you can't touch this. Doom, doo, doo, doo. So using a little die grinder, this was donated by Daniel, we're going to get stuck in with the airline, the compressor's all charged up, and we're going to start grinding out that hole on the other side of the anchor roller. Alright, I think that might have it. You can sort of see there the profile of it now. It's got a bit of a droop going down here, so we just need to get the pin and see if we can fit it in there. Doesn't quite fit. So you see that there. I need to just make it slightly wider. Done. There we have it. All the way through. So I'm going to bolt it on this side. It's actually the other way around. It needs to swap over. I'm going to bolt it that way around because the bolt itself will do a lot of the location. It's not going to slop around at this end because it's going to be firm bolted, and then this end here we know is a tight 32mm hole. So that's my plan. Let's get the roller in. Alright, so our pin's nice and cold now. We can play with it. So putting a 3mm hole in. Right, now that we've got this 3mm hole in there, let's go and stick this whole assembly back into the bow. We'll transfer that hole across onto the bow structure, and that allows us to then bring this out to its final dimension. I think I'll probably do an 8mm bolt, so I'll pull this out to an 8mm hole, and then we'll do a 6.5mm hole in the bow so that we can drill and tap it to an 8mm M8 thread
Now that we have the 3mm hole in the bow, we can start drilling the pin out to the final size. In this case it's going to be an 8mm hole for an M8 bolt, and then drilling a 6.5mm hole in the bow so that we can tap a 1.5mm thread. So little small screwdriver impact rattle gun, very low torque on these things. A fitting that allows you, this is just a quick connect 1/4 inch chuck, and it allows you to put a tap straight into it like that, so you can start tapping with one of these things. If you're tapping an open hole, you don't have to do the forward back thing. That's only to get rid of swarf. If it's an open hole, you won't have the swarf. So I've now tapped this hole. I was going to do it with my little drill, but when I went to use the 8mm tap that I had, I realised after it didn't fit for about the 14th time that it's actually a 9mm tap, and I don't have an 8mm tap because both of them had broken. So I went to the chandlery and I bought a set that had an 8mm tap, but this is made out of a high-speed reinforced cardboard, so I got a bit nervous using it on my drill and I did it by hand. I've put a taper on the pin just so that we can push it through, like just a really slow, gentle taper so that we can push it through everything easy. What I'm hoping, it's very tight because the bearings are quite tight, so I'm hoping just with a bit of oil. Heaps of oil on the oil seals so they don't rip. Yeah, something like that. Right, tappy, tappy, tappy. Okay, zip through. No. Okay.
Yep, it's just come, I think.
Okay. That should be there. Yep. So it's tight, but it's in.
Wow.
Going to get some Loctite and put that in, but that's our barrel.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's incredible.
It is, it's awesome.
So much of this boat is made by Daniel.
I know, yeah.
It's surprising, eh? Incredible. Love being underneath the bow.
Yeah. Hello.
It's a bit of growth. Apparently growth is not unusual in this river. Warm, nutrient rich.
Bolt that holds the pin in. I'm just going to put a bit of permanent thread blocker on there because it's never permanent, but it's pretty tight. Somewhere there. Alright, let's give that a tweet. Oh. Right, there we go. Beautiful. This one's lovely. Might just knock it into the middle. So then, in terms of lubing these bearings, so I need to get my tap in there to clean that thread up because I damaged it a bit. But I'm going to put that in there, which is a push lock for the grease line. And then the grease line's going to come from here and go up to here somewhere. And we just put a grease gun on the other side and just squirt grease into it. And it automatically flows out here, goes into the bearings, and will come out the sides. What are you doing, midget?
You're right, sweetie. What are you doing? Oh, it's hot. Maybe she hasn't looked at the heat. Hello. Just tidy up a bit of the paintwork and put a bit of cover on the laser dinghy up there, the sailing dinghy. Lift point, lift it out. You don't need to put a strap. The big fenders.
So we could start the engine and drop the chain down, put the anchor back on, and work it up if you want.
Yeah, okay, that sounds really good. We were going to think about putting up a figurehead. Once we saw the bow, it was so beautiful, sort of questioning whether it's the right thing.
You're so little down there.
I am little.
So, new roller. Works quite sweet.
And once more. Wow, that is amazing. That locks in so perfectly.
It's done.
That is amazing.
That looks nice and firm.
Beautiful. It's just off the hull as well. Wow.
That worked really well. Let's have a bit of a gander. So it's higher than it used to be, but you can see it sort of sits perfect. The shank itself sits perfectly in that slot. That was what it was designed for. It's probably a fraction tighter than I thought, but that actually doesn't matter. That'll probably wear out over time with a bit of mud and grit going through it. But that's perfect. That came up really easily. This anchor roller would never have been possible without Daniel Griffith in the States. He was someone that helped us out. It was incredible. We were trying to find a place in Australia that we can machine this locally, and the machinist that we use has actually closed down, so we don't have access to someone that can do this sort of work, and we couldn't get the Acetal or the Delrin that we needed to use this in Australia for less than $1,000. So it was just, there was no way, it was completely out of our budget.
We were so stuck.
We were stuck, and we sent Daniel a message, and he said, "Yep, I think I can sort that out. Give me a couple of days." And then
like that.
Yeah. And he said,
so relaxed.
"What's your design?" So I quickly knocked up a design and flicked it over to him. And he goes, "Yep, no worries." And within a few days, he'd already started machining it, and he had it just about ready to go. It was phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
we wanted to let you know how grateful we are, Daniel, and
Yeah.
this and so many other major components of this boat is built at your hands, with your hands, and we're so appreciative of everything that you do. We're constantly talking about it and gobsmacked and just moved, and we're so thankful.
We're just incredibly grateful for you being a part of the project and everything that you've sort of had a part of in the project, you know, with your work, your expertise, your generosity. It's phenomenal. So thank you so much. All right, we need to put the boat back into position. We're too far over the wharf. Okay, can you take that snake out? Yeah, that's good. Okay. A couple of weeks back, you might have seen that we put the grease system into Brupeg to lubricate the propeller shafts and rudder and so on. It's a manual system right now, and eventually this is going to be built into an automated system that's controlled by Brunette. And in order to do that, we need to have a very specific pump that is a grease pump that pumps that system up using air pressure and or electricity. It's a bit of an expensive system, and Brupeg is built on a shoestring. Like most things, we have to do things gradually as we can afford them. So we started putting this manual system in, and as that episode went out, Keith Brown got in touch with us and says, "Guys, I've got the exact pump that you need for that system. Here's the model number so you can check for yourself." And within a couple of weeks, Keith has sent that pump over. So we're going to pull it apart today and find out exactly what that pump is and see if we can work out on how to get it installed onto that system. This is awesome. Oh. G3 lubrication pump. Fantastic. Alright. Lots of oil absorbent rags. Fantastic. God, I love this blimmin' Graco stuff. It's just so incredibly robust. So this is it out. I don't know if you can tell, but this is a bloody expensive piece of equipment. These are not cheap at all. I'm never bought one before, but I'm going to guess this is probably at least a couple of grand easy, maybe $3,000 US, so proper dollars, not Australian dollars. This is essentially an automated system, so you can basically got minutes, seconds, hours, minutes, etc. up and down various settings. I have no idea what they do yet. We have to work through the instructions, but this basically is an automated grease system. So you've got a little grease nipple in here. I'm assuming you can fill grease up if you need to. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it. You can maybe buy it and just put it straight into the bucket. I don't quite know how it works yet, but look at all the controls you've got here. So using this cable, that'll be able to plug into all the various signal cables and stuff, that'll be able to plug into BrewNet, so we'll be able to start seeing this up on the dash as well. And then over on this side, I suspect you got, oh, here we go, 24 volts, so yeah, this is probably the power feed side at a guess. But this is amazing. It's a 2 litre, so I'm going to say it's probably 1 gallon roughly. I don't quite know, maybe more. I don't really know how to convert into gallons, but I would say that's probably close to 3.5 litres worth of capacity. So being clear, you can obviously see how full you've got your canister, and then yeah, this is just fantastic. This is incredible. This is like a proper industrial automatic greasing system. So Keith, thank you so much for this. This is kind of mind-blowing. I had no idea it was going to be this awesome, this machine. I didn't know what to expect when it was arriving. I knew you were sending a lubrication pump, but man, this is next level. This is something else. We're just incredibly grateful for this generosity. Thank you so much, Keith.